Let's talk about some history that they never talk about and they don't want you to know. It is hidden, but it is still out there if you are willing to seek the truth out. In the first century, the real people of Israel were reconciled in Christ and regathered, and that happened in Europe, and the European people formed the Christian nations. And these other people who lived in Judea, like Canaanites, Babylonians, especially Edomites, they called themselves Judeans, but they were not of his sheep. And when the temple was destroyed in 70 AD, the Romans destroyed that whole place. These Judeans or Jews, they moved all through the Roman Empire, but they were very distinct of the true European people who were the descendants of the true Israelites. Now, in the 15th century, Queen Isabella of Spain didn't want them practicing that Judaism no more. So she said, either you leave, or you're going to be persecuted, or you convert. And many did leave to South America, for example, or into Holland and England. Right? But many also converted into the Catholic faith. And now the Catholic Church accepted them as their equals. Now they even became bishops, and they infiltrated the church, setting up groups like the Jesuits. And now suddenly the Catholic Church was very acceptive to the Edomites. And the Edomites introduced humanism into the church. In order for them to be fully accepted as equal, they needed to change the church. And since the Catholic Church controlled all of Europe, this became more and more the norm. It doesn't take long before people forget who they are. But there were still European people who remembered who they are. Right? And now in France, in the 16th century, you had a group called the Huguenots. These were true-blooded European people who did not want that humanistic Catholic Church. They still remembered who they were. One of them was L. Le Loyer. He was a Huguenot, and he still understood that they were the Israelites. This idea that European people are the Israelites is not new. There were many who still believed. But they were persecuted by the Catholic Church. They had to flee France. They went into Holland, they went into England, and they brought all their skills with them, and they were very beneficial for society. Right? They became reformed, and they advocated for freedom of religion. And this freedom of religion had nothing to do with bringing other religions like Islam in. It was the freedom to practice the reformed theology in freedom. Right? Free from the Catholic Church. This is what the freedom of religion was all about. Also, in the American Constitution, this is what it originally meant, that Christians were free to practice their religion. Nothing to do with building mosques everywhere. So, yet even a man called Voltaire, he didn't know any longer who he was, but he did not believe in God, even though he was brought up Catholic. But he came also up with this idea of God is evil. Why was God so mean in the Old Testament that he wanted to get rid of the Canaanites? Well, he was really naive, because now we are experiencing what it means if you don't get rid of people, because it's always going to end up in where we are now. We have to go back and remember who we are, guys. The Catholic Church is not the answer. The Catholic Church is the fire beyond humanism, human rights, and mass immigrations, right? And it all comes from the Edomites who wanted to be equal to the European people. And the Catholic Church gave them that. And ever since, Europe became a mess.